think you're good.
Are we on?
I think you're on.
Hey y'all! Hi! We are coming to you live from Giving Hearts Day
At the Gnome Schoolhouse.
Yeah.
So we are working on needle felting coasters, art coasters tonight. We're also going to talk a little bit about the university and Giving Hearts Day and what that means to the university, and give you a little tour down in the fiber mill where we will be holding the tours and things that the university helps with.
All about education.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us, and I'll turn it over to Kristen.
And off we go.
Turn over to me. I'm just behind the camera. Do I have to flip
Oh,
around?
well then
Do I have to
you
flip it
want
around
to-
and be on the camera?
Over Megan.
Should we tour?
You sure can. I don't know.
I'm gonna attempt to flip this around and see if I get on it.
Alright.
So. Oh hey, there I am. Hey everyone, so Kristen here behind the camera. This will be kind of a fun ride. We're gonna leave Teresa up here to work on her practice run, and Chris and I are gonna keep you down to the fiber mill. It's Thirsty Thursday tonight, so there's people coming in for the restaurant and everything, so you'll hear some background noise, but we have a little giving thermometer keeping track of where we are for tonight, so we're about halfway to our goal. It is a big goal this year. Last year, I think our total goal was like 15,000 and we hit that. And this year, our total goal is 26,000. And that's because we got $13,000 in match from Friends of the University. So gifts given today till midnight at givingheartsday.org. Search for Gnome. You'll find Gnome University there. Gifts of $10 or more are matched up to $13,000.
There
And
goes one of our board members.
Mike's on our board.
Say hi, Mike.
Hello,
Anything else? Any words of wisdom, Mike?
I'm just disabled.
He's just disabled. He just recently had hip surgery.
Mike had hip surgery
For the
recently,
third
so
or fourth,
he's
fifth
coming down
time
for Thirsty
for that.
Thursday. You'll see some people down in the dining room there, but I'm gonna put the spotlight back on Chris and see if I can follow her down the stairs on the phone.
Here we go.
All right.
Come on down, because this is where the focus of the university is on the education, as far as where our textiles come from, where yarn, how yarn is made, that you don't have to kill a sheep to get its wool, where
Not-
natural fibers come from,
Yeah, not
what
it.
to do with natural fibers.
Not everyone knows you don't hurt the sheep.
Not everybody knows that. Here, we'll take a little peeky in here. This is one of our classrooms. We call it Klink's room because the old boiler resides here. And we have a sink in here, and this is where we do dye classes. We touch on wet felting, needle felting, what to do with the different fibers with the groups that come in that the university helps make possible. So, and what I mean by that is when 4-H groups, youth groups, classes, classrooms, teachers bringing their facts, their home economic group in here, so on and so forth, there's a cost to that because we have to shut the entire mill down, and generally I have to take time then and teach the class, and which I love doing, but you know that time means money. So there's a cost to that, which is generally not in the budget for those types of groups. So the university comes alongside that and sort of scholarships, is that how you'd say it? Scholarships that cost down to an affordable cost for those groups. And to get them in here so that we can provide the education that we so want to provide. So come on in here through the restricted area. Ta-da!
Ooh, and Helen's in here. Helen, you get to be on YouTube Live.
Say hi. Hi. Well, it's too late, so you're on.
What are we doing?
We are doing a YouTube Live for Giving Hearts Day.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
because we do the tours of the youth.
Yep.
You know, coming in here, and this is where it starts right here. Here we've got raw wool that are waiting to be washed up by dear Helen. And the skirting is done here. It goes into our wash bags and we hand wash it. And this is also where the dyeing takes place, where we dye the fibers, the wool, whatever color we need them to be. And then goes back here on our dry racks. Here we have a beautiful Barbie pink that will be carded tomorrow to be this Barbie pink color. We have a beautiful spruce color. We have that espresso. Nailed it, Helen.
I think so.
I think you nailed it. Yeah, that's awesome. These are just other, here's some alpaca drawing. Here's some curly wool. Just a bunch of fibers over here that are drying and ready to be jumping on to the next step of the process here. We have sheets of felt that are ready to be made into our different products. We have yarn, this is really a kind of a cool blend. This right here is a blend of Newfoundland dog and wool. And so it's the nice soft down.
Is this your dog?
This is my dog.
This is Bera?
This is Bera yarn. Yeah, so spun it and it turned out beautiful. It's really super soft.
You talked about that on your YouTube shorts.
I did, yeah, I do a YouTube short. I try to do one daily. I've been real neglected, so I haven't been extremely well the last 3-4 days, so I haven't had the energy to do one, but yeah, we'll be getting back onto that tomorrow, I believe. And then from here, we've got our felting room. We'll take a little peek in here. This is where we turn the beautiful carded cloud fibers, we'll see you, Helen, thank you, into our sheets of felt. And oh my goodness, feel that, Kristen.
I wish they could feel it.
I know,
Ooh,
it's just,
ooh.
it's so super soft. It's just so soft, because this is the fibers that we use for wet felting, where it's cornmeal and a very fine fiber. Because the finer the fiber, the better it wet felts, whereas the Romney fiber is a little coarser, but that needle felts beautifully, and that's what we're using up in the history room up there to needle felt onto those coasters is the Romney, and that we're going to wet felt into the coasters themselves. That just blew my mind. Anywho, okay, and then come on over here, and then from there we hit the picker. This is the first machine that opens up these fibers, so after they're washed, they just need to be opened up so they're nice and fluffy, ready to jump on the carder. And I'm making a mess here. Okay, and this is our carder, which we have 2 carders down here, and what they do is they comb the fiber so that it's all either in roving form or the cloud form, which we don't have any on here right now because it's the end of the day. And we always try to stop at a nice point. And roving being, let me grab a bag of roving here. Here, I'll just get this out here. Okay, roving. This is roving, and it's coming out of the pin drafter. And roving it looks kind of like a rope of wool. And that's as opposed to that beautiful gray cornmeal that you saw that was in like a cloud form. It's not formed into this rope form, but this is roving, and this is what we put in the kits. This is what we sell in half-ounce increments. This is what we will in turn spin into yarn, and that happens right back here on this machine here. We take that roving and we thread it over here into the spinning wheel. This is a giant spinning wheel, and we turn this diameter into this diameter. You can see this, and this is called a single. Then we take 3 of those singles, and to make them super strong, we need to ply them together, and that's what this machine does. It takes 3 of these singles and plies it into this, which is the finished yarn.
You have so many loaded up. I don't think I've ever seen you have this many loaded up at once.
Oh yeah, I've done all the way that.
I'm not down in the mill as much. Not my expertise.
Anywho, so this, and then this will ply them onto a full bobbin, and then we will take that bobbin, come on over here.
I'm walking slow so I don't get them like motion sickness through my shaky cam. Thanks for bearing with us, people. We need a steady cam system.
Then we take our bobbin. This is obviously an empty bobbin, but that goes down here We punch in how many yards per skein we want, and then every time this turns, it's 2 yards. And when it hits, say 200, it'll stop. And then we'll tie off that skein, do this, and it folds up onto itself, and that is a skein. That's how we sell it up in the store. And that's how you will buy it. Or if you're a customer and we're processing your fiber, this is how you'll get it back. And then we can take this and we can dye this so many different ways. Like you see all these different colors here of skeins of yarn that we've dyed, different colors. And then over here we have a clicker press, which takes these, and this is appropriate because this is our little coaster cookie cutter type apparatus. It's called the steel rule die, and we take our white wool, we put this up under here, we put this here, we turn this and we go click click, and it goes boom boom, and it stamps out a coaster in this shape. And this is what if you purchase one of our needle felting Giving Hearts Day kits, you got 4 white coasters, and you got a red, a pink, and a light pink roving along with your needles and your foam to needle felt onto it. So this is how we made that, and this is what we used to stamp it out. And this is your wet felted. This is wet felted, and then you take your fluffy roving and you needle felt it onto the wet felted piece of coaster, and they're super cute, super cute. And then back here in the mill, this is all of the packing and the shipping areas for the products, the kits that Teresa has designed and we make here on site, as well as all the rainbow of colors, as well as all the other tools and accessories needed for the craft of needle felting. And we also sell, of course, some yarn and so on and so forth. So when you come here, we give you an entire tour, and generally I have all the machines staged, so to speak, because when we bring a group through, we can't have the machines running, of course, but they're all staged so that folks can see how they work, and we go through the whole process, and yeah.
So this is pretty much the abridged version of what you give the
Yes.
junior hires, the high
Yes.
schoolers, the college students when they come in for these fiber
Absolutely,
tours.
Yes, we go through the different fibers. They learn about the different fibers from the different animals, where mohair
And we
comes
got
from.
some pictures of these animals, and
Yep, and they get to feel all the different
Yes.
fibers, and it's
very hands-on, especially
pretty
for
cool.
the littles, right?
Yes.
Hands-on's great.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's pretty cool to see them get it, and they understand it. And I think coming into the school, because they told me this, they aren't real excited, but when they leave, they're like, oh my goodness, this was amazing, and they're so proud of whatever project they make, whether it's the felted soap, which is like right here. We make a little needle felt or a wet felted soap that the students can make. That's really, I mean, you can do this if you're 3-4 years old up until 104 years old. Just some of the different projects that we can do with them. We do a little weaving, and we do we make dryer balls, which is kind of fun. That's another wet felting activity.
Yeah.
So, anything else?
That's kind of a general
Kinda
Fiber
it in a
101
nutshell
tour.
There, yeah, that's the little 10-cent tour there.
All right, should we go see what Teresa's up to?
Yep.
Get some needle felting pointers.
Yep. I'll open the door for you.
Again, we'll try to be as steady as possible while walking. And I kind of get a little mini tour of the schoolhouse.
Yay!
All right, I'll flip to myself. Ooh, that was close. Yeah, so I'm Kristen, the executive director here at Nome University, and mainly Kristen, Teresa, and the board asked me to do that because I have a fundraising background. I am not a fiber expert. That's where I rely on Chris and Teresa and our board, and I just get to help with some of the communications. And so I've been learning a lot about fiber through them and their passions, and that's just super exciting. So now we're back up in what we call the history room, the classroom, and Teresa is going to give us some needle felting pointers. So I'm gonna switch the camera back around here.
Hello. So I am working on some coasters here. Needle felting with hearts on them. And I'm going to show you how you would use a, so we did sell some kits. So if you had one of our kits, you would have some coasters and you would have this little heart cookie cutter. I know I need a new coaster. So I filled this one. Kind of. Okay, so you take your heart and you put it on a felting cushion, and I'm using a wool felting cushion that we have designed here, but you can use a foam cushion, which is what you would have gotten in your kit. Get it where you want your heart to be, and then I've just taken a small amount of wool rope. and I'm
Oh,
going to
sorry for the cough.
put that in the cookie cutter. It's always best to start with less than you think.
And that's what I learned. I did something with a cookie cutter, and the first time I did it, it was so bumpy, and I really have to take I take a little bit, and then I even take some of that away.
Yeah. Because it's a coaster, you want to be able to use it as a coaster. And if you make it too lumpy, you can see that they get a little bit lumpy. But as long as they're even, then you can at least set your glass on it. So you don't want it too.
They're saying to speak a little bit louder, Teresa. Also
Okay.
try to make sure I'm.
All right. So I put all of that in there, and then I'm trying to fill the space. And if you've got parts where you can see the coaster still, you can see there, then I'll put some more in. I'm just gonna lay a little bit more over that.
Oh, it doesn't help that I'm coughing. Can I steal your water?
Yes. So I'm just putting a little teeny bit more wool in there. And then the most important thing to remember is you go around the edges, because you want to make sure you get the heart shape. I'm going to put a little more in because I can still see some white around the edges. And just make sure I go all the way around. And then once you pull this off, you should have a heart shape. Just like this. And
Ta-da!
then you can still perfect it after that. There's a lot you can do to bring in the edges just by poking at an angle like this to clean up the edges and just give it a nicer shape. Just very gently going around the edge. And then I'm going to felt some more because I want it to be very well felted. If you're going to be setting stuff on it, you don't want it getting all fuzzy. And the best way to do that is to felt it very well.
And you pull it off your cushion and move it for probably a couple reasons, but one of them being you can felt it into your cushion, couldn't you?
Yes.
It could get stuck.
Yes, it gets very stuck to your cushion if you don't peel it up every once in a while. And it's the same on the wool cushion as it is on the foam cushion. So you can even give it a different shape, like make the bottom more pointy just when you come in on the sides like that. Yeah, so that is a basic heart. So I've done a few different things on these other ones. So I've outlined these in red, and then I've also done a little edge around the sides. This one I'm doing an edge, and I can show you how to do that. So you just take some of the roving, and then I tack it down on one end, and then I just pull it into a line like this. And felt it right in. And then if it's too thin, you can add more. If you've got it poked in too far, or you can just keep adding right over the top. And you can also make words that way. Words are not very easy. I would suggest taking a marker or something and writing out the word first. If you want to do cute little Valentine sayings. I stay away from that. This is some little petals, which I've used a petal cookie cutter, and I've just gone around. This is a different size, but I've also made this flower that sticks up. So I did that by felting into this cookie cutter, and then I will peel up and then put it back in there and keep felting so that I make a separate piece, and then I felted them onto here so that it sticks out. Is there any questions? I think last year we had a bunch of questions.
Yeah, if anyone has questions, type them in. I think I can see them here because Lorraine earlier said hi and then asked Teresa to speak up. So if you have any other questions or want to see Teresa demonstrate anything else, or questions about the university or the fiber mill or what we're up to. One thing I always like having Teresa share, and I'm sure she shared this on other YouTubes and stuff, but I think it's the thing that made the university and its mission really real to me, is pretty much Teresa talking about like why she got into shepherding and raising sheep and fiber stuff, and what it means to her to teach others, especially like maybe women who want to do something agriculturally out on the farm, something they can do. So do you want to give a little synopsis of what it meant for you to get into raising sheep and doing fiber arts?
Yeah, so I was a stay-at-home mom, 4 kids. I homeschooled all of them. And my husband at the time, just so I could do what we wanted to homeschool the kids, was working 3 jobs. I live on a farm 30 miles from any really small town even. And so there wasn't a lot of opportunities, you know, to make money other than something that I could do on the farm. And I always knew that something online would be helpful. So when my daughter asked for a lamb for her 8th birthday, we got her a lamb just because we were interested in knitting. And I learned how to needle felt, and I turned that into a business, an online business, where I sold all kits. I sold my sculptures for many years online, and eventually my business would double each year, which was pretty amazing. My kids would help with the business, and so that was part of our homeschool. They learned so much about entrepreneurship and starting a farm business like this. Our flock grew from just the 2 sheep that we started with to we now have 350 and we need more to provide for all the products that we're making here. And this all led to my husband being able to quit his factory job and move on to a different job where he would get home at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And hopefully this year he's going to be able to retire from that job and help us full-time and work with the sheep full-time. So, yeah.
And you said you liked raising the sheep because you guys already had cows, but you, especially being the shorty you are, wasn't going to boss around the cows at all. But like a sheep, you could handle without Jeff home if you needed to.
Exactly. So I had grown up with cattle. I was used to them, but there's a lot of things that you feel a little bit intimidated by with them. And with the sheep, I feel like I can handle most of the things. So I was very comfortable with that, and being, you know, home alone with a flock during lambing time isn't as intimidating as trying to pull a calf if I need to, which I've had to try and do.
Yeah. So I think for me, hearing that from you, it was like, you know, people see the needle felting, and these are small projects here, and With Chris too, they see like the yarn and stuff. And some people are like, oh yeah, the kids come and get to learn about this cute little side hobby that people can do. And but really, I mean, I would ask Chris her story, but she must have ran off to help with Thirsty Thursday. Yeah, but this really was a business and entrepreneurial, and you sold things online and had to do all this business stuff and agricultural. So getting these kids in here, it's not just like, hey, look at this cute little side hobby. It's like, these are futures you could have, like agricultural futures, raising sheep here in North Dakota, Minnesota. These are futures. We need more cottage mills, more mills the size that we have, to help small producers get their wool processed. Because yeah, Chris herself could, I can flip this around to me too, I guess, since I'm talking. Chris herself, you know, had a real job and then got into her fiber mill and eventually was able to, you know, quit her real job and work on this crazy little thing she had. But it really is. It is a job that our youth could look into and see as a real possibility, and it's something they could get into. And even then, just if you don't want to raise sheep and you don't want to run a fiber mill, like the arts and fiber arts is something that you could create a job out of too, and can be lucrative. Really inspirational story, both of them. I love hearing how they started and grown over the years. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The fact that you guys then collaborated and bought the school and have our store here. And I could go walk through the store a little bit too, but yeah, maybe I do that. I'm sure a lot of people may be seeing our products, but I'll walk you through the store and you can see some of the things. Teresa does also purchase different things for our store that we like to sell, different kits and crafts, both from local and beyond. But do you have like an inspiration? Like, are there things like why you buy certain things to sell in our store? Or?
We try to keep everything fiber arts related, or something that you can make, or something somebody else has made. Something to inspire you if you're staying here and you want to learn something new. That's what we're thinking of, or to add to your supplies, crafting supplies. Or if you're just inspired by what other people are making, that's what it's all about in there.
All right, I'll go give you a little tour through the store. Again, it's Thirsty Thursday, so we have people here, so there might be people in the store wondering what I'm up to and making a little bit of noise, but it's just across the way here. So this is our store. This used to be a classroom, and these are all the kits that Teresa used to just like sell and ship out of her house. Because she had her own sheep and they would get sheared, and she'd send the wool to Chris, who had her fiber mill elsewhere, who would process them, get them back to Teresa, and then she would make put together all these kits from her house. And well, there's a few more now. She's added some over the years. But we have all these kits online. Again, Teresa's sheep, the fiber mill downstairs, and then all this beautiful colored roving. Ooh, they just released the spring sampler. Look at these pretty pastels. You could needle felt some little like Easter eggs. Adorable. We also do these coasters where you can make like emoji faces. So that's all here. Let me get to some of the stuff that, and some of the needle felting then also uses yarn, like these lovely gnome ornaments. The sheep uses this lovely curly wool that we do purchase. Teresa doesn't raise any of this breed that has the curly wool. And then we do not make the socks. Those we order from elsewhere. But these are from those sheets that we wet felt and then cut out on that press. And the interesting thing, so these are normal, and then these say plus. And what that means is when they felt them in the wet felter, they actually put deodorizer in with them. So this is felted with like a deodorant in it. We use the same kind of process for cat toys. So we make these cat toys here, and when they are felted with catnip. So that gets infused into the felt, and that's a lot of fun. We do not make the stuffed animals, but Teresa loves having them here. Lots of different fiber animals. Recently, these pillows were made here. So that's our felt on this side. And then Chris's mom does a lot of our sewing. So she actually sewed those here. Our cats love the toys. Good to hear, Lorraine. I'm glad they love them. Let's see. These are I think one of the first things Chris and Teresa collaborated on. So you saw Teresa needle felting on hers. This is what they look like new. And this is before Chris and Teresa even bought the schoolhouse. They got together and Teresa wanted to make a better needle felting cushion because a lot of the times in our kits and other places, you get these foam blocks, which are great for a project or two. And then they're going to start to fall apart and you're going to get foam in your project. So Teresa wanted to make something better and her and Chris put their heads together and we have these foam cushions and they're pretty awesome.
Wool cushions, you mean?
Wool cushions, not foam, and they're wool all the way through,
Yes,
Wait.
solid wool. Yes,
right? Because you and Chris made these before you even bought the schoolhouse.
right. That was our first thing that we collaborated on, and that's why we decided we worked well together, and that maybe we could grow our business even larger. Well, plus we always wanted to bring people in and teach them about wool and yeah. So these are, you already showed them the three.
I just
Different
kind of
sizes.
picked them up. I didn't talk about the sizes,
Yeah,
but
so this is the one that's easy to take with you. This one is for working on bigger projects. That's what I was using in the other room. It's become my favorite that I take even with me. And these are if you're working on a larger animal with legs, and I stick that in between so that I can work on the top leg and have something to felt into. So that's what these are for. Did you show them these?
no.
These are to put all of your needle felting tools in. I think we have an example.
Lorraine said the felting cushions are so much better than they foam. They are. The cushions are so much better than the foam.
Great. So these are what we have made here. Chris's mom, again, is sewing. Just a nice little case, and then you can even put cookie cutter.
You could needle felt your
Yes.
case. Oh.
Yes. You could also embroider. I've actually lately been thinking of embroidering my pillow around the edges or something fun, so we know it's mine.
Nice. Yeah, we have these nice trivets that we're making too. So nice little hot pads for pots and pans up to like 9x13s. So we make those here as well. And oh, we got these mini skeins of yarn that are so cute to help make, little hats for the
Your
snowman
snowman, yeah.
kits. So they're great. Some stuff that we buy, some bigger creatures that Teresa has made. So her large bison, we do have a bison kit for beginners, so it's a much smaller bison. And you did your mallard recently, right? The duck?
Yep, in June, last June.
Okay. You got a little cow back there and alpaca or
It's a
llama?
llama.
A llama. I can't tell the difference yet. One of these days I will. So, and then yeah, all this lovely yarn that Chris puts out as well. Oh, she's got some real fun colors out. We got more pillows, more coasters. Yeah, and that's all of our products. We have some balls of roving over here. If you're a hand spinner, those are great for hand spinning. So, but yeah, so this is, these little knit hats. Libby knit those, right?
Yes.
So Libby's also our chef here at the Gnome Schoolhouse, and she is so talented, like her mother.
She's also the one that asked for the lamb for her birthday that started this whole adventure.
So this is all her fault.
It is. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I just like to show off all the different products to show the versatility that there is with wool and this industry and the agriculture around it. And so that's why we're excited to start these Fiber 101 tours. Because again, our tours beforehand, through the schoolhouse were really just geared towards adults. And the pricing was geared towards, mostly ladies who really wanted to come, or drug along some spouses, and some guys were interested too. But the schools and the 4-H groups and the homeschool co-ops would call, and I'm usually the one picking up the phone, and they would ask, and I would tell them the prices, and they're like, can't do it. And so I brought it to the university board, because it's like, well, the fiber mill can't afford to shut down this often, and it can't afford to lower its prices. So what are we going to do? This is definitely an area of need. I was telling school after school, and they were saying no. And now that the university has made this Fiber 101 tour program, we've already had a couple schools through. We just kind of launched it, started announcing in December. I think had one group in December, one group in now, and we have another group scheduled for later too. So it's mainly for ages 9 and up. We can do younger ages if they're in like a mixed group, like homeschool groups and 4-H groups. If there's great supervision, we can go younger than that. But from Chris's experience, 9 and up enjoy it the most and can focus on it the most. And again, they do about an hour and a half with Chris. She does a presentation. We have pictures, hands-on. So presentation and fiber mill tour. And then additional, they can purchase a wet felting activity and wet felt the soap, or a needle felting activity to kind of also hands-on experience the unique properties of fiber and how it kind of binds on itself and makes some of these products. And the kids we've had, again, they kind of come in, especially high school groups, you know how they are. They come in very cool and unfazed and uninterested. But by the time they leave, they're excited. The last group even picked out more roving and stuff to make their own needle felted projects back at school. So we're excited to keep this going. We think we're going to get a new wave of people interested in it, as at the end of February, the schoolhouse hosts a continuing ed retreat for FACS teachers. And it's pretty much that last year that helped kind of spark some of this. And so when those FACS teachers come this year, the university can set out information and they can sit there and sign up their kids to come and do this. So any other thoughts, Teresa?
Did you share the thermometer and stuff?
I did earlier,
Okay.
so I haven't had time to
checked.
check and update it, but
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for tuning in.
yeah. And thank you to everyone who's given so far. Again, if you go to givingheartsday.org, search for Nome, and you'll find the Nome University. And we have $13,000 in match, so we're trying to use that all, which is a big jump from last year. But again, we're trying to launch this new program. So it goes towards that. It goes towards keeping the school open. The university partners with the Nome Schoolhouse and Shepherd Industry Fiber Mill, and together we kind of all keep this place up and running and renovated. So I know I just shared some posts on Facebook kind of reminding people, I grew up in a small town myself, and you go back and maybe some old buildings are missing. Places get torn down, or you see a news story and you see an old building get torn down, and there's so many people who go, oh, that's such a shame. But there's less people to do something about it. And Chris and Teresa did something about the schoolhouse. And so now they're the owners of those businesses. They co-founded this nonprofit. And so part of the university is helping with more renovations, keeping it up and running. We got to make it more handicap accessible. We want to get a fiber flock on site and an animal education center. So that's all things that you guys are continually working on and dreaming about. So donations will go towards that as well.
Yeah, we've been wanting the animals on site since the beginning, and we're hoping to do that soon. And yeah, just
Awesome.
the upkeep of this is what we're helping towards here. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, it looks like it's getting busy here. I'm going to let customers come into the store. I'm going to go through the back. This is the dark inventory room into our office here. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. Teresa has a lot of fun showing some of her needle felting tips and tricks. If you're in the area and you want to come for a Fiber 101 tour with youth, check us out. If you go to gnomeuniversity.org, and university is EWE University, you'll find where to fill out a form if you're interested in a Fiber 101 tour. I'd love to get you hooked up with one. And then on the schoolhouse side, we have all of our classes and retreats and things you can sign up for as well. But thank you so much. Thank you for the questions and comments and all the love and support. Chris and Teresa really appreciate it. This is such a big undertaking that I've been able to be a part of for a year and a half. It's been fun being a part of it with them and learning so much myself. I came in as the computer people person, and I myself have gotten kind of sucked into needle felting. I'll show you my little bison that I made. So we showed you Teresa's big bison, but this is from the bison kit. And I made a pumpkin, and then I made a bunch of play food for my boys, kind of just on my own. And then this is the second kit that I made. So, well, if I can figure out how to sign off, I'll let you go. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to figure out how to sign off. Teresa, how do I end it?
I think this is how you do it.
Oh, there it is.
There we go.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Take care. We're excited to see all the donations before midnight and see where we end up. Stay tuned. We'll post on Facebook later. And I'm sure Chris and Teresa will give a YouTube update. Like
Yes.
not this Saturday, but next Saturday is probably when that'll come out. So, all right. Bye.